She doesn't ignore you. She looks right through you. There is a fundamental difference. To be ignored is to be acknowledged and then dismissed. To be looked through is to have never registered in the first place. You are background noise, a piece of furniture in the room of her life, and you put yourself there. She didn't just reject you, she deconstructed you. Piece by piece, she tested every boundary you had and found that none of them were real. She probed every standard you claimed to hold, only to watch you abandon it for a scrap of her approval. You handed her the architectural blueprint for your own emotional demolition, then stood in the rubble wondering why you felt so broken. You think this is about her power? No. This is about the power you surrendered, freely and eagerly, hoping your submission would be mistaken for devotion. Remember that last text message? The one you spent 20 minutes composing, deleting, and rewriting, trying to strike the perfect balance between casual interest and witty charm. You reread it a dozen times before hitting send, a knot of anxiety tightening in your gut. Then the wait began. You checked your phone every 90 seconds, your heart leaping at every phantom vibration in your pocket. You told yourself she was just busy, that she had a life, that you were being irrational. But you knew the truth. You were orbiting her, a tiny, insignificant moon, while she was the center of her own universe, a universe in which you were a barely visible speck. And when her reply finally came, 6 hours later, a single, dismissive word, K. Or maybe just an emoji, a digital pat on the head for the good boy who waits patiently by the phone. In that moment, you weren't a man she desired or respected. You were an item on her to-do list, and you were at the very bottom, right below, take out the trash. She was communicating a brutal, unspoken message. Your time is worthless to me. Your emotional state is irrelevant to me. You will wait, and you will be grateful for whatever crumbs I choose to give you. The great Stoic philosophers, men like Seneca, would diagnose this not as heartbreak, but as a self-inflicted slavery. They understood that the mind is a fortress, an inner citadel that no one can breach without your permission. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." You have been suffering from the imagination that her validation is the key to your happiness. The reality is that you handed her the keys to your fortress. You left the gates wide open, invited her in, and then acted surprised when she treated the place with contempt. Your pain isn't her fault. It is the direct result of your failure to guard your own mind, to value your own peace above her fleeting attention. You have anchored your self-worth to the tides of her mood, and now you wonder why you are perpetually drowning. You believe the game is about winning her attention. You are fundamentally wrong. The game is about making your attention so valuable, so rare, and so conditional that she begins to question what she must do to earn it. The objective is not to make her like you. It is to make her respect you, even if that respect is grudging at first. For it is from the seed of respect that true, unshakable attraction grows. What I am about to reveal to you over the next 20 minutes is not a collection of cheap tricks or manipulative lines. This is the psychological architecture for building a man who cannot be looked through. A man whose presence is felt when he enters a room, and whose absence is noticed when he leaves. A man who is not an option, but an event. The only question is, are you prepared to burn down the pathetic, approval-seeking man you are today to become the man you were always meant to be? Before we descend into the forge where this new self is built, I need to know who is committed to this war. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion and activate all notifications, because every video is a new weapon for your arsenal. Like this video to signal that you are ready for the battle ahead. And in the comments, I want to know 2 things. First, tell me the city or country you're watching from, so I know where our legions are gathering across the globe. Second, and this is crucial, tell me about a moment of disrespect that became your turning point. A moment so humiliating, so infuriating, that it finally lit the fire within you. Your story is a testament that you are not alone in this fight. Begin now. Let's begin the autopsy. You sit in the ruins of your own authority, wondering which earthquake brought the temple down. There was no earthquake. Your demolition was a slow, quiet, methodical process. It was a war of 1,000 paper cuts. and you bled out without ever identifying the blade. Think her disrespect was a sudden storm? It was a climate you helped create, one drop of weak concession at a time. The fall of a man is never a loud, spectacular event. It is a series of silent surrenders. It happens in the hesitations, the over-explaining, the yes you utter when every fiber of your being screams no. The first phase is always concession. It begins innocently. She calls you an hour before you're supposed to meet. Something came up, can we do tomorrow instead? Your schedule is cleared. You've been looking forward to this. A man with a spine, a man whose time is a valuable, finite resource would say, "Fortunately, tomorrow doesn't work for me. Let's connect next week when our schedules align." His tone isn't angry or punitive. It is the simple, unassailable statement of a man whose world does not revolve around her last-minute whims. But that is not what you did. You said, "Of course, no problem at all. Tomorrow is perfect." In that moment, you communicated a devastating piece of intelligence. My plans are fluid. My time is cheap. My desire to see you outweighs my respect for myself. She hung up the phone having learned a critical lesson. She tested a boundary, a small one, and you didn't just move it. You obliterated it with a smile. She tested. You yielded. She won. This wasn't a compromise. It was the first brick you willingly pulled from your own foundation. From concession, you slide inevitably into the second phase, frantic pursuit of validation. Having demonstrated that your own time and plans are secondary, you now feel a gnawing insecurity. You sense the power dynamic has shifted, but you misdiagnose the disease. You believe the cure is to be more charming, more available, more everything. Your texts become longer, more elaborate. You send her memes, articles, and songs, not to share a moment, but as desperate bids for a sliver of her attention. Each message is a little performance, a tap dance for an audience of one. You are no longer communicating. You are auditioning. Check to see when she was last online. You see that she's seen your message. The minutes stretch into hours. The silence is no longer just an absence of a reply. It is an active presence. It is a statement. Her silence is dominance, not distraction. It is a calculated display of her power over your emotional state. And when she finally replies with a single, non-committal word, you feel a wave of relief so profound that you completely ignore the disrespect. You are grateful for the crumb because you have forgotten what a feast feels like. This addiction to her validation leads directly to the third phase, total affective dependency. Your emotional well-being is now completely outsourced. A quick, warm reply from her means you have a good day. A delayed or cold reply means your day is shrouded in anxiety and self-doubt. You are a puppet, and she is not even consciously pulling the strings anymore. She doesn't have to. You've learned the dance. You've internalized her power. You begin to preemptively manage her moods. You walk on eggshells. You avoid any topic that might cause friction. The man you are with your friends, confident, funny, assertive, vanishes when she enters the room. In his place is a cautious, hesitant creature, constantly scanning her face for micro-expressions, trying to gauge her approval. You have given one person the power to define your reality. This is the definition of psychological slavery, and it culminates in the final, catastrophic phase, breaking the silence. This is the point of absolute surrender. After a day of her coldness, of her one-word answers, you can't take it anymore. The pressure builds until you commit the ultimate act of neediness. You send the text, "Is everything okay with us?" Or worse, "Are you mad at me?" You may as well have sent a message that says, "I have no control over my own emotions, and I require you to manage them for me. Your mood is my responsibility, and I have failed. Please tell me how to fix it." When you asked for forgiveness for a crime you didn't commit, when you apologized for her emotional state, you signed your unconditional surrender. You handed her the scepter and knelt. You confirmed her deepest, most primal suspicion about you, that you are weak, that your frame is so brittle it can be shattered by her indifference. She tested you, and you failed, miserably. Let's be brutally clear. This pattern doesn't just happen in romance. At work, it was the extra project you took on without extra pay, just to be seen as a team player. Your boss learned you were the reliable workhorse, not the future leader. With your friends, it was the constant jokes at your expense that you laughed along with, proving that your dignity was negotiable. In every scenario, the mechanism was the same. A boundary was tested. You retreated, and the space you surrendered was immediately occupied. Power, like nature, abhors a vacuum. You might be telling yourself, "But I was just trying to be a nice guy." Relationships are about compromise. This is the lie the weak tell themselves to justify their weakness. You weren't being nice, you were being compliant. You weren't compromising, you were capitulating. True compromise happens between two equals who respect each other's boundaries. Capitulation is what a defeated army does on the battlefield. You waved the white flag at the first sign of conflict, and now you're shocked that you're living in occupied territory. Stop deluding yourself. Your niceness was a strategy born of fear. Fear of her disapproval, fear of being alone, fear of conflict. And she smelled that fear on you like blood in the water. If you recognize the man I've just described, if you've felt the sting of these silent defeats, then you're at a critical juncture. You can continue down this path of self-immolation, or you can begin to forge a new reality. The first step is to declare war on the weakness within you. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion right now and activate every notification. This isn't just a channel, it's your command center. Like this video as a signal that you are no longer a civilian in your own life. You are a soldier. And in the comments, I want you to answer this, and be honest. What was the one reasonable request you agreed to? The one small compromise you made that you now realize was the beginning of your surrender? Confession is not a mark of shame. It is the first shell fired in your counter-offensive. The dangerous part of this entire process is its invisibility. There was no shouting match. There was no dramatic breakup scene. Your authority wasn't taken from you in a violent coup. It was given away, piece by piece, in quiet transactions where you traded your respect for a fleeting moment of her approval. You thought you were buying peace, but you were only funding your own occupation. She didn't have to dominate you. She simply created a vacuum, and your neediness rushed in to fill it. You were not conquered. You collapsed from within. You must understand this. No one is coming to save you. There is no cavalry. There is no external force that will restore your dignity. The man who gave away the kingdom is the only one who can take it back. And the process begins not by changing her mind, but by fundamentally reforging your own. The battle is not with her. It has never been with her. The battle is with the terrified, approval-seeking man inside of you who is convinced that he is not enough on his own. It's time for that man to die. There is no return for the weak man. There is only the construction of the new. The man you were, the one who capitulated, who over-explained, who sought permission to exist in her world, is now your enemy. He is the traitor within the gates, and your first act of war is his execution. This process is not emotional. It is not about healing or finding closure. It is a cold, tactical demolition of a failed structure to make way for a fortress. This is reconstruction, and these are your commands. Your first command: cut the excess. You have been a source of constant, high-bandwidth emotional supply. Your texts, your calls, your attention, your validation, it has flowed from you like a broken pipeline, flooding her with value she did not earn and therefore could not respect. You will now turn off the supply. Completely. This is not a negotiation, it is a unilateral decision. You will disappear from her life without announcement, without a final dramatic message, without any explanation whatsoever. This is the strategy of reinstalled scarcity. Humans only value what is rare. You have made yourself common, as available as air, and just as unappreciated. Your sudden and total absence is the first shock to her system. It creates a vacuum where your predictable neediness once resided. For the first time, she will check her phone and you will not be there. She will post a story and you will not be the first to view it. She will exist in the digital and physical world, and you will be a ghost. This is not a game of making her miss you. That is the logic of the weak man, still hoping for an emotional outcome. This is a tactical redeployment of your most valuable asset, your focus. You are not hiding, you are building. Your second command: install the silence. In the vacuum you have created, she may eventually reach out. Her message will likely be casual, a low-effort probe to see if the supplicant is still on his knees. "Hey, stranger," or "You been okay?" The old you, starved for a crumb of her attention, would have leaped at this, crafting a long, enthusiastic reply, instantly signaling that nothing has changed. The new you will do nothing. You will read the message, and you will not reply. This is the imposition of silence. Your silence is not passive. It is an active weapon. It communicates more powerfully than any paragraph you could ever write. It says, "Your attempt to summon me has failed. My world no longer operates on your timetable. Your casual inquiry does not meet the threshold for my response." In that moment of unanswered text, the entire power dynamic fractures. She, who was accustomed to being the center of your universe, is now on the outside, looking in, her power of command nullified. She will wonder if you're with another woman. She will wonder if you're angry. She will wonder if you simply don't care anymore. Let her wonder. Her mental energy is now being spent on you, for the first time, without you spending any on her. This is the first step of true psychological dominance. Do not reconquer. Replace with a sharper silence. Your third command: control the reaction. If the interaction must continue, or if you choose to re-engage after a significant period of silence, it will be on your terms, and it will be minimal and unpredictable. Your communication is now a tool, not a confession. It is brief, purposeful, and devoid of emotional pleading. If she asks you a question, you answer it directly and without elaboration. You do not ask how she is. You do not try to extend the conversation. You are a closed door, not an open book. Your interactions are designed to be unsatisfying for her, to leave her feeling like she only got a glimpse before the curtain was closed again. This is not about being rude. It is about being sovereign. The great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your past weakness was a failure to control your mind, to let external events, her moods, her replies, dictate your inner state. Now, you control the one thing you can, your own response. You are calm, detached, and your indifference is the shield that makes you impenetrable. You are no longer the eager puppy, but the Sphinx, whose thoughts are his own, and whose motives are a mystery. This brings us to the final and most critical command: total focus on hierarchy. The silence, the scarcity, the controlled interactions, these are not the true source of your power. They are merely the symptoms of it. The true source of your power is a brutal, relentless, obsessive focus on building your own value, completely independent of her or any woman. This is your war effort. You will forge a new reality where you are the undeniable authority. You will attack your physical self in the gym, building a body that commands respect before you even speak. You will attack your finances, working, studying, investing, building an empire that makes you an option for no one. You are the prize. You will attack your social hierarchy, building a network of powerful men, creating a life so compelling and full that she becomes a minor character in your epic, not the central plot. The man who wants to be loved will be discarded. The man who imposes presence will be feared, and from that fear, a grudging, primal respect is born. You are no longer hoping she will choose you. You are building a life where you are the one who does the choosing. This is not a hopeful fantasy. This is your strategic plan. This transformation is not for the faint of heart. It requires you to murder your own ego, to starve your need for validation, and to find comfort in the cold calculus of power. You are truly ready to stop being the footnote in someone else's story and start writing your own. Then you must commit to the war. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion now and activate all notifications, for every lesson is a new caliber of ammunition. Like this video as a sworn oath to your own ascendancy. And in the comments, you must declare your new priority. The man who chases everything captures nothing. So, what is your primary battlefield now? Is it your physical transformation, forging a body of iron? Is it your financial empire, building a fortress of wealth, or is it your social dominion, creating an unshakable network? Choose your war, soldier, and declare it below. Your choice defines your future. You see, the ultimate reversal happens when she realizes she is no longer the mission. Your mission is you. Your purpose is your own growth. Your challenges to your new boundaries will come. She will test the walls of your new fortress, expecting them to crumble as they always have. But this time, she will be met not with anger, not with explanation, but with a serene, unshakable indifference. A calm, no. A simple statement of your new reality, and in that moment, her entire perception of you will shatter. The predictable, compliant man is gone, replaced by a force she cannot control, a man whose world does not require her validation to spin. Her indifference will turn to curiosity. Her curiosity will turn to intrigue. And her intrigue will turn into a desperate, frantic pursuit. You will not have to chase. You will not have to persuade. You will simply have to exist in the power you have built. You will become an absence that has weight, not a presence that begs. She will finally understand that she was never ignoring you. She was failing to see the king who was always there, waiting to claim his throne. The thirst you feel now is not for her. It is the thirst for your own, absolute and undeniable dominion. And so, we arrive at the endgame. The war you declared was never against her. It was a civil war, waged against the weak, supplicating man who lived inside your own skin. The man who would have celebrated that 6-hour delayed text message as a victory. That man is now a casualty of your ascendance, a ghost haunting a past you no longer recognize. The silence you implemented was not a tactic to win her back. It was found of you building a new world, a world in which she was not the sun, but a distant, fading star. And in the deafening quiet of your absence, she finally began to hear the truth. The power was never hers to begin with. It was yours, and you had simply forgotten how to wield it. Inevitably, the probe will come. Not casual, low-effort text from before, but something different. Something laced with a panic she tries desperately to conceal. It might be a long paragraph, a sudden confession of how she messed up, filled with nostalgic references to a past you have already buried. It might be a frantic call from a blocked number. It is the final, desperate gambit of a queen who has lost her most devoted subject, and now finds her throne feeling cold and empty. She will lay the bait, expecting the starved man to lunge. She will offer you the validation you once would have killed for, believing it still holds the power to command you. She is presenting you with the ghost of the game you once played, hoping you'll remember the rules. But you are no longer a player. You are the architect of the board itself. Your response, if you choose to give one at all, is the final act of this psychological drama. It is not anger. Anger would signal that she still matters, that her actions can still provoke an emotional charge. It is not a lecture. Explaining yourself would be a plea for her to understand, a final bid for her validation. No. The ultimate expression of your dominion is a calm, surgical, and profound indifference. You might read her long, soul-bearing message, put your phone down, and simply go back to your work. You might answer her call, listen to her breathless explanation, and calmly say, "I'm sorry. You must have the wrong number," before hanging up. Not out of spite, but because the man she is looking for, the man who was defined by her, is well and truly dead. You are an entirely new entity, and you owe this stranger on the phone nothing. Not your time, not your energy, and certainly not your peace. In that moment, you are not giving her the silent treatment. You are demonstrating that she no longer exists in your reality. She has been relegated to the background noise of a life far too important to be disturbed. This is the meaning of true power. The weak man's fantasy is to flip the chessboard and watch her pieces scatter. The powerful man's reality is to realize he was never playing chess. He was building an empire, and her little game was merely a distraction on the campaign map. You have not flipped the board. You have walked away from the table entirely, because you are now playing a game so far beyond her comprehension that she cannot even see the pieces. She thought she was the prize to be won. The devastating truth she now confronts is that she was merely a test, a trial by fire you had to endure to forge the crown you now wear. Her rejection was not a curse. It was the single greatest gift she could have ever given you, for it forced you to stop seeking value outside of yourself and begin mining it from within. Let this be etched into the very core of your being. Respect is not requested. It is not negotiated. It is the silent gravitational pull of a man who has become his own center of the universe. It is the byproduct of a life lived with such ferocious purpose that the opinions of others become irrelevant echoes in the distance. You do not demand it. You simply exist, and the world rearranges itself around your unshakable frame. Your absence now carries more weight than your presence ever did. Silence is now louder than your words could ever be. You have become the living embodiment of the ultimate psychological truth. That which you are willing to walk away from is that which you will forever command. She did not ignore you. She failed to recognize the king standing before her. By the time she finally saw the crown, you were already seated on a throne in a kingdom she is not welcome in. The war for her is over. The war for your legacy has just begun. Every day is a new battle to reinforce your own dominion, to build your fortress higher, to sharpen the blade of your discipline. Never forget the weakness you came from, not as a source of shame, but as a reminder of the enemy that will always seek to reclaim its territory within you. Starve that enemy. Let it wither and die in the shadow of the man you are becoming. You have made it this far. You are no longer a spectator. You are a recruit in a war against mediocrity. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion, activate all notifications, and arm yourself for the battles to come. Like this video as your pledge of allegiance to your own sovereignty. And now, for your final command. In the comments below, I want you to declare the foundation of your new empire. Based on everything you have learned today, what is the single most powerful weapon in a man's arsenal? Is it his unbreakable silence, his absolute purpose, or his strategic indifference? Your answer is not just a comment. It is the cornerstone of the man you will be tomorrow. The day she begins to question who you've become, it will already be too late.